Ben, I think we've known each other for probably 8 years now, right? More than that?
Uh, yeah, 8 years, probably 2017, I bet.
That's what I was trying to do the
That's 9 years,
math.
I
And
guess. Yeah.
yeah, time flies, but we met through our Remodelers Advantage group. Ben is the owner of TDS Custom Construction or TDS Design Build now, I see, according to
Yes.
your. So we can
Yes.
talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
In Madison, Wisconsin, um, a really cool kind of progression because when we first met, Ben was a general manager, and Sam, the owner, was transitioning out. So at the time, uh, we kind of witnessed firsthand the transition of TDS from Sam to Ben over probably 3 or 4 years or something like that
Hmm. Yep.
through COVID. So
Yep.
welcome to the show, Ben.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I know it's been a little while. We were up in Madison probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and we did case
Yep.
study at TDS, which is really cool to meet the entire team. Ian, your I guess he's kind of your operations director
Yep.
now.
Operations manager now. Yep.
Was on the show a couple weeks back, so we kind of got his insider scoop. But do you mind just kind of kicking off your story and going from carpenter to the king of Madison, Wisconsin design build?
Yeah, the king. Yeah, we'll see if after this hour we still half hour we still think I'm the king. But yeah, so I was on a lead call the other day on a Zoom call, and at the end of the thing, the guy asked me what my background was. And people don't always ask that, and I guess my background is TDS custom construction, now TDS design build. But my first reaction was I grew up on a farm. So I guess somehow I've kept some sort of identity from, like, the first 17 years of my life, right?
Yeah,
But the journey is that you grow up on the farm, you know how to work, you're doing your thing, and then you find a construction company in Madison, Wisconsin in 2000. After working some more laborious jobs, landscaping and that, and you're ready to use your brain, and then you find yourself 15 years later being asked to purchase the company, mostly because you've probably been a pain in the ass for the last 15 years trying to improve things.
yeah,
um,
like Ben, why don't you just buy it and do it yourself?
yeah, yeah, okay. So we're done listening to you, Ben. Put your money where the mouth is. Um, but I have a high school degree. I never went to college. I took one class here at the technical college and got an A+. But otherwise, I've never been to college. And in 2015 started a journey to buy the company, and it took Sam and I 6 years to get there. And then I purchased TDS at the most prime time in our lives, the eve of 2020, 2021, during COVID. Maybe not the best sage time to buy a company, but I've been the owner here at TDS for the last 5 years. But primarily come from a carpentry background, at least as my skill was here.
Well, I remember in that transition too, and correct me if I'm wrong, but because of the COVID, there was all the SBA loans that were going out to help support companies, but because you guys were transitioning, you weren't able to get any of that, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, the previous owner and our previous cash flow and pocketbooks and things kind of got that before I got here. But big time education from you'd mentioned Remodelers Advantage, and then also the Small Business School Development Council here, the SBDC, which is nationwide, was really some of the bigger players, and that helped me kind of go from being a carpenter manager to being an actual business owner. And 5 years in, I'm starting to finally feel a little more comfortable about all this. Right? I mean, there's a whole arc of learning to be an owner and to make that work out. I can remember some things telling you, Dave, back in the day about some things that I was a novice, but I can't remember exactly what it was, but it had something to do about me, about being a craft brewer and starting a little more intense. So, um,
Yeah, I mean, I remember back in the day there, it was you and Sam and Bill and Wade. We had two companies that
Yeah.
were working on a transition. The rest of us
Yep.
were all owners, and so some of
Yep.
the big questions we'd have with you and Bill would be like, why do you want to be an owner? Like
Yeah.
you're sitting here
Yeah.
in this roundtable group hearing about
Yeah.
all of these challenges, right? And looking at the financials and being like, there might be
Yeah.
an easier way to make a dollar. So,
Yeah.
you said over 6 years. Can you kind of take me through the ups and downs of your mental state in deciding like, do I want to do this? Do I want to do something else? Do I want to start my own company? Do I want to go back to being a farmer? Like how many
Yeah.
different
Yeah. Yeah.
scenarios in that amount of time did you run through?
Yeah, I think I ran through quite a few, but I think being a business owner and being someone who's making decisions in their lives, that takes quite a bit of work sometimes, and I had to kind of learn to be a little more intentional about things. I grew up being like a yes man, and that's why I ended up in that position, to being asked to purchase a company. I didn't ask Sam. That I wasn't like, I'm here for you, man. I want to do this. It was more like, Ben, do you want to do this? So, I must have had some blinders on when I was watching all the other companies in my Remodelers Advantage group at that time. And everybody's doing fairly well these days, but there was some formative things going on there, right? Not everybody making money in that. But I think when it came down to, for me, I decided that whatever I was going to do, I needed a professional job, and a job that was going to, pay me, pay my family, and I decided that, well, why don't I just take this opportunity and make this mine? Is it going to be any worse if I go get a job for somebody else and be a general manager, and maybe I don't like them, I don't get to do the things that I want to do? So I basically had a decision at some point that this was for me, and that this would be a thing that I wanted to do. I've rarely regretted that, but I occasionally regret that decision. As anybody that maybe owns a business would let you feel, or if they let their feelings out about how things are really going. It can be very awesome, and at the same time, it has its moments of not awesome, right? So
Yeah, I think the Elon Musk quote from way back in the PayPal days, I think I mentioned a couple times on this show, is when he talks about being a business owner is really really hard because you don't get to spend time on the things that work well. You're only spending
mm,
time on the things that don't
sure.
work,
Yeah, there you
right?
go. There you
It's
go.
like that
Yep.
doesn't sound like a fun existence. So there's like it's hard to kind of get to that flow. Um, is what I take away from that. Um, then I mean, what's kind of cool, and there's a lineage to TDS where Sam bought it from somebody else, and they might have even bought
Mm,
it from somebody else. So it's traded hands over the years, but had a level
mm,
of legacy and consistency.
mm.
So
Yep.
you're an ambitious, thoughtful person that has your own vision of the future of TDS. How do you balance that with keeping the legacy intact, or do you not? Is it this is
Uh,
Ben's thing now?
Yeah, I mean, I think through the first 5 years, or even and that, just learning what I need the business to do for me has been the biggest thing. There's a lot of different versions of companies that trade hands, right? There's like the family version of that,
Hmm.
where your blood relatives are that. So I think that's really kind of different. But I think the lessons that I'm taking from that transition are, really that you want to give the company to a group of people that are already living its core values, or already living its kind of the even processes and things. I wish I'd gotten a little more of that from my predecessor, but that's okay. I also, want to kind of put my imprint on it, but really just, the legacy part, I think, is just really appreciating the people that work for me, and making sure that they get a good shake, and they're the right people for me, they're the right people for the company, and I think that's been my biggest job over the last 5 years, is getting everybody here that needs to be here, and then galvanizing that team to really start to function as really one team in that. But the legacy from Sam was caring for your team, caring for your community, and then really just being a good citizen of remodeling, right? So trying to be as transparent as possible, honest as possible, and then improving your systems and your processes to make sure that you can be as transparent and as honest as possible, because chaos can occasionally rule the roost if you're not careful.
No, that makes sense. It's kind of the foundational rocks, which is cool when you see a company that has traded hands down the line, shows that it's something bigger than just any one person.
Yeah.
And so that foundational rock sounds like it's been pretty consistent since the early days of Two Dumb Swedes, which is what TDS stands for.
Yeah. 40th anniversary last year. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So 35 years incorporated as Sam, and then 5 years as myself. So
that's cool. If you you were never, so you were never there before Sam, right?
No.
Okay. So that.
I'm pretty sure I was in third grade in 1985, so I missed that. I missed that year, or something like that. I can't remember what grade I'm in, but it definitely wasn't swinging a hammer.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, I don't know. You're a farmer, so they put you to work in third grade.
Like that. Yeah, I think I was trying to keep running and riding my bike at that point.
But you do have a significant visibility of the Sam TDS and the Ben TDS. Can you kind of paint a picture of what the differences are between the two then and now?
I think my attempt is to really be more proactive about managing the people and managing the processes, and then also taking the lessons I learned from purchasing the company and bringing those through. So at some point here, and then probably 10, 12-year range, that I can help the company transition again, and make that as seamless as possible for whoever or whomever's would like to maybe step up and help me do that. So you said your question was what was kind of the differences between Ben's TDS and Sam's TDS? I think I saw us have many years of decent success, and then whether it was economy driven or self-inflicted with transitions of people within the business, I saw a kind of a wave of success, and I'd like to really start to see a little bit more of a consistent flow and have that be a year over year, and build the people into the company that want to stay here for careers and offer opportunity. But just, I think, taking a lot of the things that he was doing well and making them more intentional, without being too overboard with exact SOPs for every last thing we do, but just really set the company up for more of a sustainable success.
Okay, that's cool, man. I like that. If and kind of going back to that time of transition, I guess first of all, did you lose people in the transition?
Yeah, so I mean, you could see this play out in a few companies, but in 2015, when I came into the office, I came in actually as the operations manager, and then I was presented with managing my peers that I'd been working with, and that only worked so well. I wasn't overly liked by everyone that was here, so we had some turnover then. But the thing that I found more than anything is really, somewhat through the transition, but also working with kind of some of the EOS Pinnacle type world of right people, right seats, over the last probably 2021 through maybe 2020, beginning of 25. We've taken that very seriously throughout the company, and that's caused us to fire people, to put people in different positions, to elevate people, but really gotten us to the point now where everybody that's here wants to be, and that's pretty cool to watch, and have a team that really cares for ourselves. And the example would be we were most recently at our TDS day on Friday, so our annual offsite that we do with our crew, and one of the guys mentioned that he can call anybody on the carpentry crew and they will come and help, and they're going to be 10 out of 10 when they show up, and really nobody has any doubts about that. So I think it's a strong place to at least start to build in some growth into the company when you have that kind of culture going on.
Yeah, no, and I would imagine, in Madison, that's a pretty powerful thing, right? Culture is such a
Mm-hmm.
big part of that community to begin with. So
Yeah.
if you don't have that in your company, it's definitely going to hurt. And if you do, good people are going to continue to join your team or want to join your
Yep.
team.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
and then when this transition happened, what was because you said over 6 years, so what was the visibility to the rest of the team of what was going on? Did all of a sudden you just show up one morning, you're like, it's my company now?
Yeah, I mean, not really. It's you know, I think for any business owner that tries to transition a company, you know, there's so many different ways it can go. But what I've seen more commonly is that a lot of owners will have like a 10-year plan that takes them 20 years. So, you may not get that first ask to work out. There was a individual before me that kind of said no to it. I had a potential partner at one point that was here at the company that left to go teach at the remodeling school instead of purchasing. So Sam tried a number of different things along the way that didn't really work. And then you also have to try to really make that. You want to build the company up to be a very profitable, good company, but you also have to realize, as the person who's in the company helping you build that, the price is just getting higher too, right? So there's just a lot of the person trying to sell the company needs the person buying it, right, and vice versa. So in the end, if that's not really mutual, you're gonna have some issues. The But visibility, people knew what was going on. Was it well structured? That's hard to say how perfectly structured or how well that was really messaged. But definitely people knew, and that was kind of part of what I was saying about managing your peers and people having confidence that Ben could own the business and those sorts of things too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, that's cool, man. Well,
yeah. It's a
switching
lot of
gears a
work. I,
little
I mean,
bit.
I'll
Yeah.
caution you. That's a lot of gears. That's a lot of gears. That's a lot of work to do what we were just talking about. And you saw it with me, and you saw it with Bill too. So uh, that's that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was really pretty special because when we first started talking about it as a Ramal's Advantage group, like this is never going to happen,
Hmm.
right? You just
Yeah.
kind of had that feel that Sam and Wade weren't really ready to let it go. They were just kind of floating the carrot out there. Um,
Hmm.
was a little bit of the feel, but no, once it got real and you guys worked through it, and it was really really cool to watch. For sure, we were super excited for you guys. And then I was like, maybe Ben will take over my company.
Yeah. Uh, we live in Wisconsin, man. You're talking about Illinois, or I don't even really
That's
know
not
how
that
to
far,
operate. I don't know how to operate down there.
but
We
kind of
just hired
joke.
an architectural designer from the northern suburbs of Chicago, so we'll see how he
Oh,
does.
nice.
Yeah.
There's an incredible design talent here, no question.
Hmm.
Um, it's pretty cool. But yeah, you like I said, you were in the owners group then. So for those of you that don't know, Remodelers Advantage is not fully a plug for them, but obviously, Ben and I think everyone in our group got so much from that and still keep in touch about it. But it's a group of owners that would meet twice a year and go through our companies in high levels of detail. And while Ben was not an owner but transitioning to owner, he literally you knew more than every single one of the owners in the room.
Yeah, or at least I appeared to.
No, but your studious effect of kind of digging in and understanding financials
Hmm.
was really really powerful for all of us. And
Yeah,
I mean, I think you were MVP like 8 times in a row because you
yeah,
just
yeah.
you just got it. You'd read through all the information and you'd be like, I don't know about this. What about this? I don't think you fully understand this. And you would question this, and then it was really powerful. So it was kind of, I'm sure it was a no brainer from Sam because he's like, yeah, I mean, Ben knows more than I do.
Yeah.
And then, just outside of the business. So what's Sam doing now? What's his life look like?
I don't see him that often. He's retired, he's riding a bike. He's doing his thing. He's we'll I don't think anybody in town's watching, but he might be getting an award soon. So I'll be working on that.
Cool.
He's got it's kind of cool. I mean, a lot of people reference him. They're all the older generation really that knows who he is as far as our market goes. But no, he's I think happily retired, and doing his thing. I mean, he's told me numerous times that the main thing he's doing is shedding responsibility. I think after 35 years of having to put up with a remodeling business, that you feel pretty good just to let all that stuff go and just live your life. So
Yeah,
good for him.
absolutely. And he's in Madison,
Yeah, he's in
as far as you
Madison.
know.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yep. Oh yeah, no, he's here. We see him now and again. He's still we rent the buildings from him here still,
Oh, okay.
and so he's our landlord. But and then he hangs out with the old boys and Thursday nights for beers. I don't go down there too often, but
Oh,
I
cool.
always could.
Is
Yeah.
he raising the rent on you like crazy?
No, he's still doing okay. He's doing all right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, well, on the topic of Madison, so what's Madison's kind of its own, and I don't totally know, but this is what we always talk about in our group. I remember, I think it was Ty Melton or maybe even Judith when they would facilitate us, and we would talk about all the company financials, and we talk about
Hmm.
Madison, and you guys were like your own category. It's like this own separate market that exists that seems to operate in a different way than the rest of the world.
Hmm.
You guys have done a really good job of keeping how cool Madison is pretty secret. I think the
Hmm.
word is out. You got those two
Hmm.
lakes and the city between it. It's really,
Yep.
really cool. So what's going on with TDS and kind of the market, and how are you guys feeling about this year and beyond?
We're feeling pretty good. I think the general vibe around town for some of us is that there's not the larger projects that there were kind of coming out of COVID, and but otherwise there's still plenty of work, plenty of competition, but plenty of work in Madison. Sometimes we would call it a little more of a bathroom economy. We had really strived to really take on, certainly, almost certainly, purely larger projects in the last number of years, but we've kind of come back into doing some more of the bathrooms. I have a lot of past clients that are really, good people that we can work for and get some of those types of projects done. I'm, we have a decent amount of, I guess, young professionals that have elementary aged kids. And those really, I think, are my favorite clients at this point in Madison. Our houses are, we have some okay houses in Madison, but for the most part, they're a little dingy and they all need the extra room or the extra entrance or mudroom or office or some sort of improvement so that folks can stay in their neighborhood, stay in their house, and then raise their kids beyond being infants and use well. We don't want all the kids and us in that one bathroom we have. Thank you very much, right?
Right.
So and everybody seems to have like a 2% mortgage rate that they got stuck with at the end of COVID as well. So it's a little bit harder for people to want to move and buy another house. And we have for the most part a little bit of a housing shortage, I guess, as far as that goes. At least in the kind of city area, there's it's not as quite as easy to move around and be flexible and get what you want. So pretty good market of people that want to build in and stay in their neighborhood and that. We offer as the company we offer a full service basically company. So we're not going to be the least expensive opportunity, but if we can really give everybody that good experience and that awesome feeling when they use the space when we're done, that's what we're after. So plenty of projects, different mix of things. A little longer to sign design agreements than sometimes we would like at the moment, but still a stable of work that we can produce. So
Is there a pretty big DIY economy that you guys have to compete against?
I don't know if it's as much that as it's people that other potential other contractors that think they can get there, months before we can, and then they show up months after we said we would, or
Yeah.
just people that maybe are running a little different process where they're not bringing all their own trade partners and things like that. So it's probably more a different business model type of competition, maybe than kind of that lower rung of things. I would love to have a list of 5 different individuals that I could count on to give to people that can't afford us that do what you're saying, but it's not really here as much as I would think it would be. Um,
Is it
house
is
values to remodeling values is a little bit of a struggle. Like,
Yeah.
someone comes to you with a $500,000 budget, and that sounds great until you understand everything they'd like to fit into that budget. And then it's
Right.
like, well, at that point, then people think about buying another house. So,
Yeah. As soon as they
there's,
say, and we want a pool,
yeah,
you're
or
like,
or even
okay,
just
well, there's
end
half our budget.
yeah, or end if even just like we want the kitchen and the 2 bathrooms and the mudroom addition and the family room, and it's like, well, and then it's they think they need all those things, right? So sometimes it's hard to talk people down into some other things.
And do you guys go far outside of the city of Madison?
No, we try to stay fairly local. We don't go out
Yeah.
of the county. There's not much of a, I guess, driving culture in Madison, right? Like, I mean, you in Chicago, you guys are driving farther than we are for a lot of
Yeah.
things. And that's just kind of, we have a lot of our employees tend to anymore live outside of town just because of the cost of living in Madison. So we do have people that are commuting in 45 minutes or an hour or whatever that is. But we don't tend to drive that far for projects, nor do our trades for that matter. A lot of them are a little bit more localized.
And do you guys, you're primarily, remodels and additions. Do you guys look towards new construction and things of that? Or have you looked at expanding your product line or your service line, or are you trying to focus it more?
We had been really trying to get deeper into the high performance new home world, so passive
Hmm.
house or that sort of thing. We completed one last year, a little bit maybe the year before, but we're not finding a ton of traction as remodelers trying to break into a space where your custom home is 1.3, 1.7. So the crowd that wants the passive house tends to come with a little less budget or a little less of that. So we're trying a little bit. We definitely would take something like that as long as it came through the right channels and we're able to do what we need to do with our business around that. But we're not at this point new home builders. We're better suited at the moment for a little more remodeling and additions and technical dormer type of weird stuff that we can put on
Hmm.
top of houses and things like that. We have some pretty good skills that some people in town don't have as much of as far as that goes. So
Yeah, I would agree. I think the level of thoughtful, customized design and coupled with you guys' level of craftsmanship and kind of craftsman carpentry backgrounds
yeah.
really speaks well to each other. So especially in the world of Madison architecture, which is super cool.
Mhm.
On that note, and kind of the sales and marketing side of stuff. So said when we started, now
Yeah,
you are
yeah,
TDS design build. When did
yeah.
that happen? Can you kind of speak to the impetus for that transition?
I think it kind of for better or for worse, I inherited TDS custom construction, and we have a rather large telecom company, or I guess it's not telecom anymore, but TDS Metrocom is a
Mm.
big company in town, so we share the first initials with them. And so kind of taking the custom construction, bringing it into the idea of this design build as the main thing we're offering. Maybe one day we'll continue to evolve and maybe pick up another name just to distance ourselves a little more from the Metrocom. But I think just trying to make it known that we are a design build company and that's the work that we want. We're not necessarily the rot repair specialists around town, or some other things that custom construction can kind of spread itself into. So just elevating the brand a little bit, bringing it along with some of the marketing things, and making the URL smaller as I go along. So um,
Yeah.
uh,
TDSCC, TDSDB. Well, we kind of, so Livco, if you Google us, Livco is also like some sort of dietary
yeah,
supplement company.
absolutely. Yeah,
I
no,
don't know.
I know. Yeah.
It's
So we'll
very
get reviews
strange.
occasionally for like the technician showed up and I'm so mad, and I'm like, that's honestly not. We do not provide internet, right? So, and like if I look at my Google traffic and the hits, like I can't even use it because I'm getting thousands of hits on TDS every month, right? Because that's the initials, and it's not for me, it's for them. So
Yeah, and I think, going and being very clear about design build makes a lot of sense because it speaks to, something greater, which is the all inclusive
mhm.
team, right? So
Yeah,
design through construction, with which custom construction that offers design maybe is a different, um,
yeah,
first point of entry or different funnel. Um,
yep.
and I'm kind of trying to figure that out down in North Carolina because the design build now might be head trash a little bit, but what I kind of found is when I would meet people and talk to them about what I did, and I said, we do design, build, remodeling, and additions, and they're like, "What's that?" In the
Yeah, right. Okay.
Southeast, it's a little bit less of a known entity as it is
Hmm.
maybe in the Northeast and Midwest. So we kind of switched to more of an architect first funnel. So people
Hmm.
searching for an architect are going to find us because
Hmm.
people just don't Google design build, at least
Right.
in North Carolina. Or they
Yeah,
might
and
say, "I
I
want to
think
build an
people,
addition. Where do I start?"
yeah, I think people do here to a certain point, but the
Mm-hmm.
education, often talking to first time conversations with people about just like, whether you're going to work with us or someone else, you really should educate yourself on what your delivery is for this product, right? And I think you really want to be comfortable with what the company you work with or the multiple companies you work with, just what's the delivery mechanism of that company, and you're going to have trade-offs. There's going to be more risk if you go this way and less risk if you go that way, and that sort of thing. So the one we chose was design build because I think it keeps a healthy culture of just the whole, giving that client the whole thing across the spectrum of the
And
project. So
yeah, and kind of give me or give us a kind of a picture of that structure. So you have a team of interior designers, you have architects, and you have construction managers, and you also have carpenters, right?
mhm. Yeah, so I mean, at this point, we're fairly slim right now. We have an interior designer, architectural designer, and a project developer as our main early team, and then myself as sales, kind of at the front end, and then they kind of go to that team structure through the design development phase. So we do a two-phase schematic and then design development. And then we've got our build team, and our build team is kind of based on, really, we have one project manager, we have a field ops manager who is our kind of our most talented carpenter that's kind of keeping track of really hammer swinging, but not necessarily writing change orders and doing things like that. And then we have our carpentry staff, which is kind of swung back a little bit to a lead carpenter model, which is kind of more than anything an extension of, you own this project, you own this kind of outcome on site, which is, I think, a healthy way for us to do it here. I think clients appreciate the continuity of that too. But we're
Mm-hmm.
down to five. We only have five carpenters right now, and one thing we've kind of recently done is become quite a bit more efficient with those five people, which is pretty cool to see too. But yeah, so just a fairly streamlined operation, but team based is really what I'm pushing here, and just we have a really strong push for kind of a one job mentality. So really, from me bringing that client in through our warranty, just making sure our team is seeing that as a full one job, and not seeing, well, these are design deliverables and these are production deliverables and these are these other deliverables. I'm really trying to make sure that in the spirit of design build that we're really, making that as seamless for our staff as well as our clients, I think is a big thing.
Yeah, no, I love how focused you guys are. I mean, you have the team that I've met's pretty incredible. What's kind of the next move here? You guys just going to
The next
continue getting
move.
better? You're going to try and grow? You're
I
going to
think,
take over?
yeah, I think, I think the set the baseline right now is what we kind of did last year,
Hmm.
and for at least the group we have, and then, figure out how to layer on 2 or 3 other projects that take us to the next level of being able to give pay raises, being able to buy things, be able to build a little more depth, and resilience too, right? Like, do we have 3 months of overhead sitting in an account somewhere, or can we get that to 6 months and feel good about hitting a bump in the road when it happens? But no, so sustainable growth. No, not really. We're not really a. I think through my Remodeler's Advantage and EOS journey and Pinnacle, we saw some folks say that the horizon is 30 million or something, right? But we're going to be pretty happy at 5, and then kind of just make good lives for everybody that's working here, and pay everybody market rate and better as we move forward.
Well, on that note, and circling back on the Madison market, which is a small, tight knit community, and yeah, I mean, you have a competitive market there. You got Chad
Mm-hmm.
around the corner, and then you got
Mm-hmm.
Abe's over there too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
how are you guys able to differentiate yourselves from those guys, from the other design build, good companies, without talking too much crap on them? I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
no, I mean, I think for us, for us, I think it's just to try to be who we are,
Hmm.
try to be as honest about who we are, and then also be as transparent as possible with our clients about what we can and can't do, and really letting that set the benchmark for what our clients kind of think of us, and what the community kind of thinks of what we do. Um, I can't really do much about the rest of them, right?
Hmm.
A lot of them are really good people. Some of them, my opinion isn't as high, but there's definitely healthy competition here in Madison. I'm not with buying the business in that. I've not been really part of the kind of NARI scene, and which is really strong in here in Madison.
Yeah, it
I know
is.
you met some of them in
Hmm.
Atlanta, and so I haven't really been part of that community. But there is that healthy part of that kind of the Madison group where there is a decent amount of representation for the industry too. So maybe one day I'll get there, but I'm just my family and my learning how to get my chops right as a business owner. I'm plenty happy just to talk to you for a few minutes, Dave.
There you go. Well, and on that kind of competitive nature, because obviously, I mean, Chicago is a huge market, but yeah,
Yeah.
pretty competitive, and we have really great companies around the corner from us, and they just continue to just grow and take. And we have two really big ones that just fight for market share. We're kind of
Mm-hmm.
over on the peripheral, and
Mm-hmm.
there's two things to that. One is the old adage that iron sharpens iron. So I would
Mm-hmm.
rather be in a pool of other really great talented, qualified
Yep.
remodeling companies that have to compete against a really shitty pool of piece of crap
Yeah.
remodelers,
Yeah.
just
A
because
bad
it just hurts the
reputation with it.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
mean,
so
plenty of billboards on the way back from O'Hare for design build right there on I-90, right?
oh yeah, I drove up to Wheeling last night, and it's like air room, air room, air room, air room, which is great. Like
Yeah.
they're a great company and have all these other entities. I think they're like 80 million or something like that.
Yeah. Oh
So,
my
and
God.
they've been around for 60 years, and Michael
Yeah.
Klein puts incredible amount of energy into that family-owned business, and it's great. And yeah, we don't need to do that much. We just need a tiny piece of a market that is going to continue to grow.
Yep.
We're going to have bumps in pin up demand here and there, but the reality is houses aren't getting any newer.
Yep.
Um, and we haven't even gotten to the ones that were built in the 90s yet,
Yep.
because they're falling
Yep.
apart, and they're going to be
Yeah.
falling apart.
Yeah. 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 I mean, in some respects, they get easier to work on as you move forward in time, hopefully. But we work on a lot of 100-year-old houses and stuff here yet, so it's 100+ year old houses. But
Yeah,
when
and it's
when
one
we
of the,
hit an 80s, we're like, whoa, that sure doesn't take as long.
And yeah, when you deal with houses of that age, there's no easy fix, right? You can't just keep putting band-aids on these things over and over again. It just
Yeah,
won't
yeah,
work, and it's going to cost you
yeah.
more. So at the end of the day, we'll have clients that they need to do major improvements to their house. They
Mhm.
they might want to, do all new insulation, and like no matter what, it's going to be a major infrastructure investment to make their house, you know, up to comfortable modern standards where they're not worried about an
Mhm.
electrical fire. So
Yeah.
that's kind of your core cost. And if we're going to do that, why don't we make it, also a place that we can enjoy living because it's fresh
Mhm.
and new throughout, and still has a level of the character that we appreciated about it. And then, well, if we're going to go that far, why don't we hire a really talented, qualified team to say, like, maybe there's some modifications we want to make. Like maybe the
Mhm.
stair is in the wrong place, and if we move the stair, all of a sudden we can get this much more space, right? So, I think we're going to be seeing more and more and more of that as housing stock continues to age, and
Mhm.
the people who are poised to provide customer service oriented, creative design, turnkey construction services are going to be a needed resource
Yep.
continually. So I'm right there with you, man. Keep it
Yep.
authentic, keep it real,
Mhm.
continue to help. I love having sales calls where it's not a good fit and I can send them to somebody else where it's a better
Yeah.
fit, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Education,
yeah.
it's still a thing. So, yeah.
Cool, man. Well, we went a little bit long here, as usual. I
Hey.
said every episode. It's kind of the deal. But we covered a range of topics. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, or anything, any words of wisdom for our listeners and your wealth of experience and knowledge, and going from
Oh boy. Yeah, no, I mean, I
carpenter
think
owner?
good conversations. I appreciate being able to explain a little bit of, what we're doing here in Madison. And, it's good to have connections like Dave Pollard in the world. I think that's what I take away from all those years of being with different companies and different groups. And, camaraderie is pretty rad. So I appreciate what you're doing here too, Dave, as
Yeah,
far as,
I love keeping in touch with everybody. And, Ben and I were people where, I think there's one time I was traveling and I was just sitting at a bar and I just started texting you. And you're like, you were
yeah,
sitting at the
yeah.
airport and you just started texting. I'm like, why don't we just call each other? Like, what are the chances
Yeah,
for both?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I, I love that stuff. And I think there's a Neptune reunion call tonight, but I don't know
yeah,
that
yeah.
everybody's on the invite.
I've not been good at getting on those, but I'll make sure Marco sees my face here at some point. So,
Except Jim Zach, and I'm going to say this publicly, live
oh,
on LivLive. Like Jim Zach is on the call, and like he has
yeah.
nothing to do with us at all.
There you go, there you go.
He
That's
left us, and he
yeah,
didn't even
he
buy us
did.
drinks in L.A.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well,
Jim, until you pick up the drink tab for all the wealth of information that we've given you, then you abandon us.
yeah, yeah.
You're on my list.
He's not even on the Slack channel, so who knows?
Oh, we'll have to edit that out. Jim's a good dude. Uh,
Yeah,
anyway, Ben, really appreciate it, man. Look forward to seeing you again soon. We didn't even talk about your background. So you
yeah.
did a sweet trip to Honduras.
Oh, the background of yeah, we were just in Roatan, Honduras, and it's an island in the Caribbean for 8 nights. A delayed honeymoon, so it was a pretty cool trip.
Nice.
Yeah,
I want to do something like that.
yeah, no,
Um,
beautiful. You gotta get to the tropics now and again.
do they
Sit on the
have?
beach.
Do they host youth hockey tournaments there? Because if they don't, I'm
I
not gonna
don't
probably not
think
gonna be there.
so. No, no,
Okay.
youth hockey. I mean, you have to change
All right.
to some
Detroit, it
soccer.
is.
You need some soccer kids. I think is what the thing would be to do down there.
Yeah, unfortunately, most of our little family trips are to Detroit and Boston, and we
Uh-huh.
do get Nashville and Florida
Beautiful
every now and then.
cities. Beautiful
Yeah,
cities. But,
Hershey, Pennsylvania. Good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But love it, man. Always great to catch up. Say hey to the crew back there for us, and thanks again, man.
Yep. Thanks, Dave.
All right, talk to you soon.
Yep.